All right, so let's go ahead and talk about our Utah Jazz, shall we?
Yes.
Before we get into content, folks, we want to remind you that we did just launch Utah Hockey DNA. Sorry,
Utah, yeah, that one too.
that one too.
But this is the new one.
This is the new one. The
second new one.
Second new one. This is Utah Jazz DNA. This is our channel specifically dedicated towards your Utah Jazz. This channel is specifically guarded where all of our jazz content will be housed. You'll see everything we talk about on the Utah Jazz here first. Not everything that we talk about the Utah Jazz will make a video on our main channel. So if you want to see the full episode about what we talked about on Utah Jazz basketball, you will find it on this channel, Utah Jazz DNA. So if you're watching that on this channel, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. We'll be giving away one of those sick new Utah Jazz black jerseys. So make sure you check out for that once we hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel.
Hit subscribe.
That's right. Hit subscribe. Hit that notification bell. And we'd love to hear from you on the comments. So let us know about that for sure. All right. So let's go ahead and quickly talk about Utah Summer League. What would you say is your main takeaways that you got on Utah Jazz Summer League this year?
Well, I mean, I was really happy to see the rookies all play 4 to 5 games, right? It was good because, last year Taylor Hendricks didn't get a full Summer League. He was kind of hurt. I can appreciate Kyle Filipowski playing in all 5 games. Obviously, Collier and Hendricks and Cody Williams. I'm sorry. So yeah, those 3 guys didn't play in the last game. I love that these guys got an opportunity to play in this game. In all the way through Summer League, we actually got to see some of their skill sets.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Filipowski had that monster breakout game, scoring 26 points in that last one over the Pistons.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think he had such a good game against that? It's just simply, does Detroit not have anybody of size? Like, do they have nobody?
I think it was just pure volume, right? Like all of a sudden, he was the centerpiece of that offense that they kind of relied on to actually get points from. He did have 11 rebounds. He had some assists in that game, so he was dishing it and actually getting some, kind of being a two-way threat in that game where they had to worry about him passing and shooting. I think it really helped him. Kind of crazy that all of a sudden after that game, all of a sudden you see Bleacher Report articles saying, is this guy the biggest steal in the draft at 32, where he got drafted? I mean, because of that one game, obviously he was the Jazz points leader over Summer League. He averaged 16.4 over the 5 Summer League games. He did have an extra game. He did have a breakout game. Other than that, it was Cody Williams and his 4. He averaged 15. These young rookies are really, really fun to watch.
They are.
Every one of them brings something different that's a little bit different of a spark. Obviously, Cody Williams is this freak athlete that can score from all 3 levels.
Who's not athletic, by the way, apparently.
Quote unquote not athletic. But the dude, he's just silky smooth. He can play. Yeah, I really like Cody Williams. Obviously,
he's got everything you can't teach.
Yeah, and you can't teach him to be 6'10", 6'11", right? No. Like he's just a monster.
His ability to read the court and see the spacing and just know to go right at the hole. Yeah, and his ability to pass out when he gets trapped in there. Like I watched enough of this guy in Summer League to see. I'm like, okay, I get this.
Yeah,
guy. This guy's got it for sure. We got a comment there that addresses Filipowski. Can you read that?
Yeah, it says, yeah, I think Flip had a good last game because he had the green light after everyone else got pulled or was quote unquote hurt. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
that is exactly
quote
what
unquote
happened.
Hurt. Yeah, yeah, I think that's funny.
Thanks, McKinley. We appreciate you tuning in, man.
Absolutely.
As always. Yeah,
as always, appreciate it. Thanks for chiming in for sure. What's your takeaway on what you saw out of Isaiah Collier?
So Collier, I think, was a pleasant surprise, man. I wasn't sure. I knew that he was a downhill scoring guard, right? This guy was known to be ultra aggressive to the hoop. He was strong. He was big bodied. I did not think he was going to lead this Jazz team in Summer League assists. 4.5 assists a game. I mean, this dude's he just really brought it.
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, and he just continued to bring it. I like how aggressive he was. There is a video, right, where I said that I thought that he was going to spend some time in the G League developing. And after watching him through Summer League, I do not think that's the case.
Yeah,
I think that he's definitely got a chance to make this roster and play in some games. He is going to be the 4th guard on that bench behind, obviously, Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson.
See, that's kind of where I'm thinking at.
He's going to be sunk behind that bench, right? But yeah, I think he's going to get some time, though. I think we're going to see him play.
Yeah, I agree. I think if we does see some time in the G League, that's because and I'll get on to that in a minute here when we talk about other stuff. But yeah, I agree. Isaiah Collier basically played himself into a role.
Yeah.
with the Utah Jazz. The only reason why he's not with the team is if with the front management, not the coaching.
And how about the 2.5 steals a game from Collier, dude?
Yeah, that's
He
insane.
was a really aggressive defensive player, and albeit he's not playing NBA talent yet. This is right. He's not quite there.
No.
But the fact is if you can step onto the floor and play with that much defensive tenacity every single night, you will be on an NBA roster. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and I think he's a great fit for what this team's trying to do when it comes to
Yeah.
that. You need a downhill point guard. You need a guy who can read. I think he'd fit perfectly well next to Keontae at the 2.
Yeah.
I don't really think even Danny Ainge doesn't really see Keontae as a point guard. He's basically said as much in interviews. So I can kind of agree with that a little bit. But I don't know, man. I see a lot from him. But the one thing I do want to mention is what's your thought process on Walker Kessler this summer league? I think there's an underlining story there that I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to.
I think it's crazy that Walker Kessler was in summer league this year. This guy, well, he underperformed all of last year, and that's why he's there. But the fact was this guy started a lot of NBA games last year.
Yeah. Yeah. So with my issue with Walker Kessler is he wasn't in preseason last year because he was with Team USA for the World Basketball.
Right.
And he was with them, so he didn't get a chance to play in Summer League last year. But he did start for this team, and he did have a chance to really kind of separate himself. He had a breakout rookie year where we weren't the only ones. It was national pundits said that he was going to be a frontliner for Defensive Player of the Year, and he just had a massive fall off in his second year. And this is definitely kind of the team basically saying, "Hey, you got some work to do.
Yeah,
you got some work to do. Put it in." And I just really think, well, from what I saw in Walker Kessler out there, he felt like he just didn't really want to even be there, and that really makes me nervous.
In the summer league games, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, he definitely didn't want to be out in summer league. I mean, he thought that he had earned himself, the summer off to keep doing, conditioning and, pretty much training at his own pace through summer league. I definitely don't think he thought that he belonged to be out there. I think it was quite obvious that he did.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that he performed last season, and I was really excited about Walker Kessler because of his ability to be an offensive player, not so much a defensive player, right? Like he was supposed to be a really polished offensive, he can shoot it from 10 to 15 feet away. He can, he's got a little bit of finesse under the basket. There was a potential that he could, step out and shoot potentially some threes. That is not at all who Walker Kessler is.
No.
And it's not that we had I think what kind of hurt Walker is we did not have a true point guard that you can run pick and roll with.
Yeah.
I mean,
we did his rookie year when we had
Mike Conley. Exactly. And Walker Kessler looked fantastic in that time frame. But when you move away from a true traditional point guard that can run pick and roll and put himself in those situations where he can dive to the basket, create some gravity where people have to respect his size, his agility, he didn't have those situations at all this year. I think he struggled, but I think the problem is the Jazz have drafted some really athletic guys that can shoot the basketball.
Yeah.
In Taylor Hendricks, who can shoot it. I mean, now Cody Williams, now Kyle Filipowski.
Yeah.
That is the way of the league, right? Is you have these high 6, low 7 foot guys that can all shoot it from anywhere.
Yeah. Explain to me why we couldn't put Lauri Markkanen at the 4. And just replace Walker Kessler.
You absolutely could.
6'11".
Yeah.
Who's bigger? Like he's like defensively, like he's stronger than
Kessler. Yeah.
No, I definitely agree. Who did they play where they had that 7-footer?
Oh, you're talking Zach Edey?
Zach Edey. Yeah, that's who it is.
From Memphis, yeah.
Yeah. So it was Memphis. Yeah.
Okay.
That guy made Ziddy. There you are. Thank you, McKinley.
Thank you,
You're
sir.
on it. You are on it, buddy. Appreciate it. Yep. So just to confirm that.
Great minds think alike.
That's right. But yeah, so I don't know if you watched that game, but you couldn't tell who's coming into their third year of the NBA on that game.
And that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
You played with NBA caliber players all of last year on an NBA floor. You should be dominating. And if not physically, because you've had 2 years of an NBA trainer, your skill set should be much more advanced. My point is Walker Kessler should be a much better player than Zach Edey in his first year.
Yeah, and he's a throw-in, man. I think I think that's who we were hoping we were gonna. We found a player that we'd like in the draft. I'm sorry, in the trade when we got him. We got Walker Kessler in the.
Yeah, well, dude, we were so excited, and he's such a likable guy, right?
Yeah. So he was in that trade. So he was one of the pieces that we really wanted in the trade. Let's see here. We got another one there. What do you think about the Jazz letting?
I got that in my notes.
Beasley and Lofton go. Yeah, personally, don't care about Lofton. He didn't show me enough growth for me, but I really liked Baisley. Yeah, so great point there. Great point. So I will have to say that Lofton had the Ingles gene in him. He was a locker room guy. You know, he was willing to play in the summer league. He started like what 3 or 4 games for the Jazz last year.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the season, I mean, and
Yeah,
he's been there must be something internally that NBA teams see about Kenny Lofton that you don't see as just watching him on the floor. Because on the floor, this dude has skills. He's a great big body. He
that's the
can go
reason.
down low. He can shoot it from all three levels. Um, but there's something internally that's happening with this guy that he keeps getting waived. I do think the Jazz may sign him. I think a lot of this was salary cap space. I think they are going to probably try to renegotiate the Lauri Markkanen deal, and they wanted the 800 in cap space that they waived with Darius Baisley and Kenny Lofton because they were both guaranteed 400,000, obviously.
Mhm.
Um, and with freeing that up, they now got 37.7 million in salary cap, and they have to spend 23.7 by the first day of the regular season to hit the floor.
Right. We
So
will link to the comments in the comments down below where we discuss in great detail the new CBA and how that affects the teams.
absolutely.
That's come up in the comments quite a bit that we don't talk about that enough.
Yeah.
But we did cover it
That's
quite.
why I added some of
Yeah.
the math in there.
Yeah, it came. It's coming in up in the comments. We did cover it quite in depth, but we did think that it would, if we kept talking about it, we'd be a broken record and no one would want to watch it. So we don't really talk about it a lot. But we'll link to that video down below. But anyway, so like you were saying,
Um,
there's a floor.
yeah, exactly. So there's a floor. I think they're just trying to make sure that they did free up enough cap space that they can negotiate Lowry's contract to the maximum or whatever they decide to land with him. I could see the Jazz re-signing Lofton and leaving him on the G League team or putting him on a two-way contract. But again, I don't know what's happening internally with this guy because he has been waived by multiple teams now,
Yeah.
for just that reason.
He's got
So
the IQ though, man. The guy gets it. When I watched this guy in summer league and some of the Jazz games late last year,
he,
he understands assignments. He can read a playbook pretty well.
yeah, and I think McKinley nailed it. I don't know if he's grown that much. I think he is who he is as a player already. I don't know. He doesn't have a ceiling, right? He is that guy.
Right.
And maybe he's not good enough for an NBA roster, and that's the problem is he has no room for growth because he shoots an average percentage from three. He is just kind of a big guy that doesn't show a ton of defensive effort in a lot of situations. He's not
That's
super
true.
fast, but he does make good defensive transitions, right? Like he is pretty good at moving, to cover his guys and stuff, but he doesn't show a ton of effort going up or trying to block shots or anything like that. So I don't know. I liked Kenny Lofton. I was kind of surprised to see them waive him because I did like him and I really liked Baisley.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I,
was disappointed to see that.
I was really disappointed to see the Baisley.
It's summer
So
league, man. Yeah, he's made a couple mistakes. I mean, he made a lot of bad play decisions out there, like some bad shot attempts.
and some terrible passes, man. There was
Yeah,
times where I
there
was
was
just like,
just
what did you see on that play? You're not playing high school ball anymore. You have to throw the ball with some authority.
yeah, just some lofty stuff that people
Yeah.
just picked out of the air. Yeah, yeah. So I was surprised to see Baisley get waived. I thought that he had a lot of talent. I think his top of the key lockdown 3-point shooting that he has
Yep.
was going to be clutch for this team because we have corner threes all day long from people like Lauri and
And Baisley had 1.7 blocks a game
yeah, defensively.
during summer league. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he'd be. Yeah, that's a we're severely lacking in defense on
Yeah.
that.
5 rebounds, 1.7 blocks. I mean, he was in the leaders for the whole team for
Yeah,
summer league. So I'm kind of surprised.
I am too.
And that's one of those things where you don't, Kenny, the only thing that Kenny Lofton was in, he did have 1.3 steals and 4.3 rebounds. Again, both these guys were top five performers in some of these categories during summer league. So I'm
You think
with
it's
you.
just
It had to be a cap space move.
yeah, it had to be.
They must be figuring out. I'm assuming they're narrowing down where they need to be to either sign a player or sign Laurie and make a decision to move forward. We're all just hoping that it happens sooner than later because this is getting out of hand.
Well, we do have an unofficial trade deadline, which we'll talk about here. Let's go ahead and pivot into that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Lauri Markkanen. So this is according to Brett Siegel. The Spurs have shown willingness to part ways with multiple first-round picks, as well as Kelton Johnson, as a part of a potential deal to land Lauri Markkanen for the San Antonio Spurs. What's your quick take on that? Give me your thoughts real quick.
We had a couple comments in our past video that says, why would you move a player like Laurie for multiple firsts? Because you don't know what's guaranteed in multiple firsts. And I agree with that and I disagree with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only way that the Jazz build a team, and I think you actually commented back to this person and said, the only way that you actually build a team,
This team,
the
yes.
Utah Jazz, that has no ability to recruit free agents, right? No one's coming here
No.
because they absolutely just want to come to Utah. It was a little bit different in previous years when we had stars like Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert. And this team was an actual destination, right? It actually was a few years ago. They were the best team in the NBA.
Yeah, we had Joe Johnson and some other players.
Players past their prime, but it was still talented guys that were willing to come give Salt Lake City a chance because they were a contender. Right now, we are nowhere near a contender.
Right.
B, we are not a dream destination. We are not LA, Boston, Miami. Nobody wants to move to Salt Lake City. I don't know why, but that's fine. Stay out.
We
I'm
like
okay
it the way
with
it
that.
is.
Yeah, we're good with that. But the only way that we have the ability to build a team is through the draft, to get these guys, to lock them up early, to get them on a max contract, because the way the new CBA is structured, we can offer them more money than anybody else can because we drafted them.
Right.
That is something that the Utah Jazz have to use to their advantage to be successful in the future drafting players. I hate this trade. Keldon Johnson is a good player, and he is someone that would make the Jazz really terrible next year.
Might be their goal.
Which might be their goal. But the problem is like we said in the previous video, and we just have to go back to it, you devalue every one of these picks because now San Antonio has a ridiculous team.
Oh, yeah, they're a playoff team if they get Lauri.
That is not going to be the bottom of the league.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's going to be those first round picks aren't going to be lottery picks, so it does not matter.
Exactly.
It does not matter. You have Wemby, and then you have Lauri, and you have a nice young core. CP3 just signed a 1-year deal to be there.
And you still have one of the greatest head coaches on all time in Greg Popovich, who's going to absolutely coach basketball until he's 126 years old. He'll be out there in a wheelchair coaching. I almost guarantee it.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not coaching Team USA this year. I thought that was kind of weird.
I think he just wanted the summers off. He's too old for that. He's like 82 games is enough.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. So yeah, no, I agree. I don't like the idea, but the fact that there's another team in the conversation when it comes to Lauri Markkanen just is another thing to talk about there. And we heard some, comments there like, "Oh, you guys are delusional if you think Lauri Markkanen's going to get that many first round picks and that kind of talent." What did Mikal Bridges go for again?
Yeah, that was 5 firsts.
5 first round picks. I believe he's ranked 50th in the NBA as far as the player power ranking.
Yeah,
he's ranked 50th, 52, and Lauri Markkanen is in like the 30s.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Lauri Markkanen can command 5 first round draft picks. If Mikal Bridges can get it, Lauri Markkanen definitely can.
I sincerely don't think that Danny Ainge is giving him up for anything less than 5 firsts. But the fact is we need some of these firsts from other teams that are being transferred on it. You know what I mean? Like, we need some picks that San Antonio has from a different team that isn't a potential playoff contender. So you almost have to see the details of the trade. Where are these picks actually coming from? Like, is there any Chicago Bulls picks out there? I want some of those for next year.
Yeah, they'd have to be somebody else's team's picks, because that's what they have a lot of their picks. If they're San Antonio's picks, no, we don't want them for sure.
Especially if we trade Lauri to them.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go ahead and hit McKinley Coulter's comment here.
I think they wanted Walker to get reps with what the Jazz view as the possible point guards of the future. Also, maybe to work in screens because he kind of sucks at them.
Fair point.
True. And he was better at screening when he had Mike Conley and they were running the pick and roll game together. He is not great at setting screens. And that is typically something that most players develop a couple years into their NBA career. Like, if you watch early Rudy Gobert, his screens are terrible. He's always moving. He's always putting his elbow out and getting called for fouls. Yes, it is a skill that you pick up later into your NBA career.
Yeah, in all fairness, you're comparing Walker Kessler to a 3-time defensive player of the year when it comes to screens.
But I'm just saying, early in their career, Rudy wasn't good at them either.
Yeah, well, I'm saying what people are thinking when it comes to that player.
Yeah, exactly. You watch so many Rudy Gobert screens, like, man, this guy can 70 set a
years.
Screen. Yeah.
So.
And you watch Walker, and it's just like they just ran around him. Well, that was completely pointless, and now you're just completely out of position because you can't shoot it until you're 3 feet from the basket.
Yeah, 100% agree on that. Yeah, McKinley. Yeah, perfect point there for sure.
Love it. Keep him coming.
Yeah, keep him coming. I don't think that they're planning on moving Lauri. I just think that they have a disconnection between Lauri and his team about what he's capable of doing on this team.
Yeah,
they want him to be more of the same that he was with his rookie season. He sees him as being a corner 3 and D kind of guy, And I don't really
I
think he
think,
falls into that
yeah,
category.
Walker has a different vision for the type of player that he thinks he is, and I think the Jazz think they has for him.
Yeah.
And that is really tough as a player and as a franchise to have different views and visions for what a player is going to be. It's going to be really interesting to see what
Oh
happens
yeah.
with Walker because I could see them moving him because of how much young, talented, tall, athletic freak players that they have that
Yeah.
really easily replace Walker Kessler.
Yeah. Well, maybe when they have to pay him. That's what I'm thinking about. Because if you got a
He's
player,
on a rookie scale now, yeah.
yeah. So if you got him, you're gonna put in against any elite bigs that he'll be able to defend against, and then you'll put Filipowski against, when you go small because he's undersized for a center.
Yeah.
Not he's undersized. His wingspan is undersized for a center. Let me be clear.
T-Rex arms, yeah.
Yeah. Mark Stein also states this was just a few days ago that the Warriors still want Markkanen, but they do not want to give up Pajemski. They have created basically an artificial trade deadline for the Jazz and the Warriors to make this trade, which is August 6th when he's eligible for a contract extension. Because once they make that extension, he's no longer eligible until the trade deadline.
Correct.
So it's really like that day and then not until the next trade deadline. So basically what it
They
is
have to extend him in the morning and then trade him in the afternoon.
yes.
Because if he makes it through the day, he's not tradable for 6 months till the trade deadline's up, right?
Yeah, so I'm thinking that's what a lot what this is. I think they, insiders like Mark Stein and other people within Shams Charania basically saying that the Jazz want Pajemski. The Warriors aren't willing to give up Pajemski. They've actually thrown in Kaminga and saying, okay, we'll give up the same amount.
Kuminga's really talented.
I don't know. I think I'd rather have Kaminga over Pajemski myself.
I think he's probably the more talented player with a higher ceiling. And he is on a little longer of a climb to hit his ceiling, where his timeline might match a little better with this Jazz team than
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So I don't mind that trade, and I think what we're talking about, like I mentioned last week, that this might be a trade package that's being designed specifically for that time frame
right.
when he's signed his agreement. Because you're not going to trade if you're the Warriors, you're not going to trade him for a 1 year rental.
No,
You want him for the next two
sign
or three
wherever he wants.
years.
Yeah,
You want him for the next 2 or 3 years while you still have
you want him under contract.
Curry.
Yeah,
And or you can maximize his talent of his career there. So you're going to be trying to get the most out of him. So my guess is they're basically just negotiating on what's going to be included once the Jazz do extend and potentially trade him. I think that's a possibility. Not what I want to do, but I think that's also a possibility.
yep, totally agree.
All right, we want to hear from you folks. Let us know in the comments down below. Let us know what you think in regards to how were the Utah Jazz's trade. Sorry, not the Utah Jazz trade deadline. Let us know what you think on the Utah Jazz Summer League, as far as any takeaways that you have when it comes to that. Also, let us know on the latest news about the San Antonio Spurs offer for Lauri Markkanen. We'd love to hear from you. When it comes to that, also, folks, remember that this channel is where's my mouse go? There it is. So keep in mind, folks, we did launch our new channel called Utah Jazz DNA. If you're watching that on this channel, we greatly appreciate it. Thanks for finding this channel. Please hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. We're going to be giving away one of those sweet new Utah Jazz black jerseys once this channel hits 1,000 subscribers. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that giveaway, and also smash that like button. And if you are watching this on our main channel, Utah Jazz, on our main channel, DNA Sports Recap, the channel will be linked in the description below.